How's it going, you guys? So today in this video I'm going to be giving my top 5 herbs for erectile dysfunction, okay, to improve your libido and to improve your erectile health. Okay, so first of all, let me kind of like explain some of the causes of erectile dysfunction. One of the main ones is obviously a crappy diet. If you're eating foods that cause inflammation in your body, or that cause digestive problems, or you're eating a diet high in refined foods, especially high glycemic load carbohydrates, you're going to have all sorts of nutrient deficiencies. You're going to have all sorts of hormonal imbalances, blood sugar problems, and things, whether you're diagnosed or not, that significantly contribute towards erectile dysfunction. All sorts of nutrient deficiencies can cause problems with your testosterone, or even neurotransmitter problems with dopamine and epinephrine, problems with endorphins that can disrupt your sex drive, and even things like nitric oxide. When you have blood sugar problems, that'll interfere with your nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide is a chemical in your blood that essentially promotes blood flow to the penis, essentially. And when that's impaired, no matter what Viagra or anything you're going to be taking, it's not going to work nearly as good as if you just remove the problem altogether, which is a crappy diet. Literally, your body repairs itself. It creates the cells inside of itself from the foods that you eat. So whatever you put in your body, remember, your body's going to be using the food that you're eating and the drinks that you're consuming and these medications. It's going to be using those things to build itself. So if you eat crap, you literally will become crap. And I don't think that crap will perform well in the bed, okay? So for me personally, I have been following a primal blueprint / paleo type of diet for a very long time. That was after a year of being vegan. I don't believe veganism promotes blood flow and sexual health the way a lot of these people claim. I have too many videos on that already, so check them out if you're really interested. And if you're into vegan propaganda and you're gonna like call me an idiot for that, well, oh well, I don't give a fuck, because I've already researched that probably way more than you. And yeah. So anyway, check out the Primal Blueprint by Mark Sisson, or yeah. Anyway, so there's that. Also, calories, if you're in a caloric deficit, or if you're under eating protein, if you're not getting, at least 0.8 grams of protein per pound of lean mass, I try to aim for 1 gram per pound of lean mass a day, or you're under eating calories, you're in a caloric deficit, then that can also cause all sorts of problems, including insomnia, irritation, low sex drive, low testosterone, and the list goes on. Also, vitamin D deficiency, magnesium deficiency. So anyway, there's a lot of reasons why someone might have poor libido, and there's those. Also, if you watch pornography hijacks your brain's dopamine, and that will prevent you from being able to have good sex with a real woman. So removing porn from your life is extremely beneficial, and a lot of people actually have porn-induced erectile dysfunction. So maybe trying to at least transition towards masturbation without porn is a good step in the right direction, because at least you're not programming your brain to try to reproduce with these pixelized videos on a screen. Okay, so yeah. And it's scientifically sound, by the way. There are many studies that show this. Anyway, so the top 5 herbs. So the very first, the very first herb that I'll talk about is, let's say, ashwagandha. Okay, so ashwagandha is kind of like a wishy-washy herb, in the sense that at the wrong dosages, taken for the wrong amount of time, it can possibly cause, depression or lethargy. But typically it's used as an antidepressant and an anti-anxiety herb, and to boost energy, to boost strength. And there's some studies that show an increase in free testosterone from taking it. And I'll tell you this, I've been taking it lately. If I take a small dose of a powdered extract, for a long time, like, I went from having no morning erections to all of a sudden having morning erections like crazy. Like I'm 14 again. And if you combine this with no pornography, it's even more extreme. Ashwagandha definitely increases my sex drive, and it gives me that aggressive, productive, like kind of testosterone, manly edge that, you know, most people talk about when they look for these herbal testosterone boosters. So, you know, there's a lot of things I can talk about as far as ashwagandha is concerned. The possibility that it might increase testosterone receptor density, and it might increase dopamine to a certain extent, although it depends on the type of extract you take and these types of things. But essentially, you might want to check out ashwagandha and take my advice. It's best to take a very small amount, like a microdose, in the morning, because too much of it will actually make you tired and possibly cause you to feel depressed. Okay, so tiny amounts of ashwagandha. Very, very effective. The second herb that I'll talk about is Maca root. So Maca root is very well known as a libido-enhancing herb, and it increases libido reliably. It also seems to increase the fertility of women to a significant degree. In fact, the only time I've ever gotten a girl pregnant was when we were both taking Maca root. And it was just the dumbest thing ever. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I had her taking a tablespoon of maca powder, and it was yellow maca, I believe. And I was taking it as well. And we ended up, you know, she ended up getting pregnant. And that was the only time I've ever gotten a girl pregnant, was when we were both taking maca. And lots and lots of people have that same experience. It's a very effective herb for increasing reproductive health. And I know many women have used it to regulate their periods, and their doctors have diagnosed them as infertile. And then after a couple weeks of taking maca, they suddenly find out that they're pregnant. Or after like 8 weeks or so, after 2 months. So, I mean, after years of not being able to conceive a child. So that's pretty incredible. And for men, it's been shown to increase the quality of sperm. There's definite increases in libido and in energy and in, you know, feelings of well-being and things of that nature. Increases in energy, and most people take it to increase all the features of feeling manly. Okay, and that's what its traditional use has been. And it seems to increase testosterone in infertile men, or people, men with low testosterone. Although the significance of that is debatable. I personally take maca combined with microdose of ashwagandha every single day, and I find that it is very, very powerful. So the next herb is kind of a controversial one, but it's one that I've talked about many times in the past, and it is Yohimbe. So when I talk about Yohimbe, I'm not talking about yohimbine HCl, which is an extracted isolated chemical from Yohimbe bark. I'm talking about a Yohimbe bark extract, okay? And I've talked about taking Irwin Naturals. They have one called Yohimbe Plus that I found to be really awesome. And it'll increase your energy, and it works a lot like an amphetamine to an extent. But essentially, Yohimbe is one of the most well-documented libido enhancers, and especially erectile health enhancers. Whereas ashwagandha and maca root are more for the hormonal effects or the mental effects of libido. Yohimbe actually seems to increase blood flow to the genitals, okay? And it will increase your libido too, to a insane degree. But what Yohimbe bark extract seems to do is it increases blood flow throughout the body, especially to the penis and to the genitals. And honestly, it was embarrassing. When I first started taking Yohimbe, which I don't take it anymore, and I'll tell you why in a bit. I remember I was on a security job where I was standing in a lobby for like 4 hours at a time, and I had this uncontrollable erection for the entire time. It was the worst experience of my life. And so that's a huge issue with Yohimbe, is that it is like it's like a clinically effective erectile enhancer. It's ridiculous, and I know a lot of people probably have had the same experience. So yeah, I literally, and I took a high dose. I probably took like double the dose of Yohimbe that was recommended. It was the Yohimbe Plus by Irwin Naturals, and I just remember having this hardest erection in my life, and it lasted like 4 to 6 hours at a time. It was ridiculous, and I was horny as hell, and I was standing there in a lobby on a security job full of old people. Oh my god, that was the fucking craziest time. That was the craziest thing ever. Now, the thing is, you might think to yourself, wow, like, that's amazing. Why don't you take it anymore? Like, why would anyone not take that, right? And the reason why is because if you look at some of my old videos where I talk about Yohimbe, you got all these people talking about how irresponsible it is to recommend it and blah, blah, blah. Well, look, it definitely has side effects. Yohimbe is probably one of the most dangerous supplements or herbs that you can possibly take that's on the market right now. And there are a couple others that probably come up to it, like periwinkle and whatnot. But essentially, what Yohimbe tends to do is it increases the heart rate to, it can increase the heart rate to a pretty dangerous degree if you take too much of it. Now, typically, if you take a tiny amount and you slowly increase the dosage over time, you're not going to experience any problems. But you know how most people are? They don't care, they're careless, or they underestimate the power of an herb or a supplement. Like, oh, let's see if this even works, like these people. Too many people underestimate the power of medicinal herbs. And then when they take something like Yohimbe and they overdo it, they're like, oh shit, I had to go to the hospital and this herb almost killed me. It's like, yeah, because it's that fucking powerful. So it increases the heart rate to a significant degree. And, when you have an increased heart rate, you got more blood pumping through the body. So you want to start slowly. And keep in mind, I suppose because I've taken large amounts of pre-workout for a degree of time, my body was able to handle the significant dose I took when I was, had that erection for 6 hours. But I was taking an insane amount at that time, and my heart was pounding a lot. And I did feel horrible. I felt like mentally on edge, and I was peeing all the time. And my heart was just insane. I remember trying to lift weights with Yohimbe, and like I was out of breath doing sets of 3 and then my heart rate took forever to go back to normal. That's not healthy, but I'll tell you, it is a very reliable way of getting your penis to work when you really, really need it. Okay. Now, another thing is a lot of men have, and I did feel like I was on top of the world when I took the right dose. I felt like I was just like a god. It was pretty insane. But a lot of men actually have sexual anxiety, and something like Yohimbe might increase that. But I'm sure the penis will still work regardless because of how powerful it is. But yeah, I have videos about sexual anxiety, so might want to check that out. Or, yeah. So let's see, it's performance anxiety. But let's see, what else can we talk about? Because there's quite a few other herbs. Tribulus, how about Tribulus? So Tribulus is an interesting herb. I've taken like mega doses, large amounts, like 3 grams of Tribulus extract alongside Maca root for a while. And oh my god, that is another herb, especially combined with Maca, that just increases your mental feelings of horniness and increases the quality of your erections and your sex drive in general to a significant degree. I think combining 3 grams of Tribulus with large mega doses, like 6 grams of Maca, was probably the most insane feelings of libido that I've ever had. And scientifically, Tribulus, yes, it has a pretty reliable effect of increasing libido, but also has a pretty reliable effect of increasing sperm quality up to the potency of Maca root. And in infertile men, it also seems to increase free testosterone in men that have low tests. But then again, that's debatable, depending on what studies you're looking at. Tribulus also seems to possibly increase stimulate luteinizing hormone, but its effects, especially now with the most up-to-date research, it seems to have a testosterone receptor density increasing effect. So it seems to increase the density or the sensitivity of your testosterone receptors, which is something that a lot of people were in the dark about for a long time, but in the last couple of years, there's been more research coming out about the possibility to increase the receptor density or sensitivity to testosterone, which is interesting considering so many people actually just take more and more exogenous testosterone, which would hypothetically decrease the density or decrease the sensitivity of the receptors, and downregulate them the way that most exogenous substances do. So, Tribulus seems to be a pretty good one. And honestly, I've gone through times where I would use, ashwagandha, maca, and Tribulus at the same time, especially maca and Tribulus. Those go very well together. Okay, so let's see, what's another one? I guess I'll just talk about Damiana for a while. So Damiana is an awesome one because Damiana tends to have a calming and relaxing effect on the body, but at the same time increases the mental effects of libido and seems to increase more like sexual confidence, okay? Because it's not like Yohimbe where like you've got this massive libido but also potential anxiety and your heart's beating out of your chest. Damiana relaxes you and it makes you kind of want to be calm, kind of like be social, and at the same time increases the feelings of horniness and increases the libido in a grounding, calming type of way. So somebody with a lot of sexual anxiety or performance anxiety, who's always on edge and they have stress-induced erectile dysfunction, they might want to try Damiana, okay? Now, obviously, you run the risk of it putting you to sleep with too large of a dose. I typically have felt increases in well-being and a anti-anxiety effect from Damiana, while increasing kind of like feelings of libido at the same time. And so Damiana has been traditionally used in drinks, usually combined with alcohol in South America and Mexico and whatnot, for thousands of years. But yeah, that would be something I would try, just, maybe as like, not as a reliable, sexual enhancing herb, but something that you just try out of curiosity. Typically you can get a pretty good extract for like $5 to $10 for like 60 to 90 servings. So it's pretty cheap, pretty cost effective. But for me personally, the safest and most reliable, male enhancement herbs, in my opinion, would be just a gelatinized maca extract. If you don't have much money, just taking, making sure it's just the powder and it's gelatinized, regardless of the color, is okay. But I think black maca is the most powerful. I've had amazing effects from, even a teaspoon of black maca. But I'll take like a tablespoon of yellow generic maca on a regular basis, gelatinized, and maybe take 500 milligrams of a Tribulus extract, or try bumping up the dosage to 3 grams, and that's pretty reliable typically. But I have been experimenting with low dose ashwagandha, and I find great synergistic effects with maca root. So and add some cacao and coffee and make a little elixir. That's what I've been doing, and blend it with some butter and coconut oil for increased fat-soluble nutrient uptake. So yeah, leave your questions and comments down below. I have plenty of videos on this that dive deeper into each herb. I believe I have a video on each herb that I mentioned besides maybe Damiana. So go ahead and search my channel name and then the herb name, and you'll find it. Let me know if you have any experiences with any of these herbs, or if you have anything to add to the list down below in the comments section. Talk to you guys next time. Feel free to ask me your questions.